G'day guys, Wereman here. Welcome back to the workshop. This is the first I've recorded for the new year, so hopefully you guys had a good one. Hopefully you're doing well. You had a good Christmas, all that jazz. Just wanted to say thanks for continuing to watch and or listen to my obvious crap. Thanks very much for watching. Obviously not getting as many people watching these as we do getting watching on the battle reports and things like that. But there's still a few people there. Shout outs to everybody that's actually commenting and stuff. I know there's a bunch of people watching that aren't commenting, and that is perfectly fine. I don't have any problem with it. But, g'day to the guys that are. What I'm hoping to do now is get a bunch of scenarios actually ready for you. I'm going to do a couple of different things. I want to go through and do what I'm going to call a notebook session. So I'll just sit down, because I've gotten a little bit off track with these things. I knew this was going to happen. I was 100% sure this was going to happen. I was trying to keep it coherent, trying to keep it so that I was explaining things in some sort of rational order and going through things systematically, but you can't really do that with BattleTech. It's not easy to get by on that with BattleTech, because there's a lot of different offshoots and fragments and things like that, and it's not necessarily a thing you can do without hours and hours and hours of scripting, and I'm not going to do that. So what I'm thinking is I might sit down with a notepad, just a blank page in my notebook, and we'll do some ideas for force building, some ideas for deployment, some ideas for objectives. Bregel wanted some kaiju ideas. I haven't forgotten about you, buddy. I just procrastinate like a madman. So if you're still listening, bear with me for a little longer. You're nearly there. I had some really good ideas, actually. I'm sure you guys have gone on and done all of this stuff yourselves, and I'm just going to be talking to thin air because you've all come up with better stuff. But I said I'd do it, so I'm going to try and get myself to do it. What I have is I've got the junkyard scenario that I did up for the missile, weapons-ready missile, when we pimped our mechs out, and I did the Shadowhawk and the Locust. The original scenario that I came up with was quite involved. I had a bunch of things going on, but we pared it right down to the bare minimum because we're doing videos and we want them to be short and interesting and fun for you guys to watch, right? You don't want to watch us fuss over rules for hours and hours at a time, right? And I've also got the C-bill building formation build scenario. Now, originally that was going to be Clan versus Innisphere, because I thought that would be fun. I wanted to take Adam's clan forces apart because I'm a petty-minded little sadist who just wants to win occasionally. But it is well known to pretty much every person who's played BattleTech for any objectively large amount of time that clan forces versus Innisphere forces when you're using C-bills is not good, okay? It's when you cross those technology base gaps, you will end up with some very, very big differences in C-bill cost. Clan stuff is refined, it is technologically advanced, it is evolved, right? They came back with all of this tech that they'd spent centuries developing for warfare, not for its cost efficiency or its ability to be churned out in large numbers. They wanted it to be functional battle equipment, right? The Innisphere is pumping out stuff to wage war with, but they need to do it with an industrial complex that has to have cost efficiency and all that sort of stuff. So the C-bill versus C-bills in a scenario, if you use them to build forces, it's perfectly fine. Like I've said before, don't let me put you off anything here, okay? If you want to do it, do it. It's up to you. Go for it. If you've got the time, the miniatures, and the space to do clan versus Innisphere and use C-bills, then I say go for it, right? Don't let anything I tell you here put you off trying something. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a run-through of the C-bill scenario by myself here. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to see Adam, and we're going to actually give you some solid comparisons, because I don't know if the point is really coming across with me just sitting here talking at you. Okay, so some of the new guys will be going, oh, yeah, there's a difference, but how bad can it be, you know? Where, I mean, somebody's pointed out in the comments that you can get like 3 Black Knights for the cost of 1 Timberwolf. And I think the Timberwolf is a good baseline here. The Timberwolf was one of the first, the Mad Cat for us Innispheres, was one of the first mechs that was really spotted and dealt with. And it can put out a fairly large amount of damage, and it's an expensive machine. You can get quite a lot of stuff for that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this scenario in the next one of these, and I'm going to walk you through it, how I've built it, all that sort of stuff. Then I'm going to go see Adam, and we're going to discuss some disparities, and then eventually we'll get some actual forces made. I think I want to wait until battle armor is done, just in case Adam wants to use the battle armor. Oh, somebody asked about formations regarding a Nova. So the Nova, if you remember, is the it's a formation of Omnimex and a star. So a full star of Omnimex and a full star of Elementals or battle armor. Most people will be familiar with Elementals. I think they'll probably be a separate section by themselves, a full episode by themselves for just Elementals, and then we'll go into different types of battle armor, but battle armor technically. So the bonus for the formation that you build with those mechs applies only to the mechs, right? But what happens is the infantry that's mounted on those mechs now gets the ability to fire while mounted. Normally you can't do that with battle armor that's gripping the side of an Omni-mech. They can't shoot, right? But these guys, because they're part of a valid formation, they get the ability to shoot. Now, they have to use the attacker movement modifier for the mech that they're transporting on. So if you've got one that's jumping, it'll be a +3 to their target number, and then they get an additional +2 for being mounted. So it isn't terribly accurate, okay? But somebody asked about that, and I realised I hadn't mentioned it, so I thought I'd better put that in there while we're still doing formation building. This is just kind of the first audio that I'm recording. I think we've got a couple of rules discussions that are going out, but this is the first one I'm recording, so I thought I'd catch up with a couple of things. But I'm going to go ahead and record some scenario information for this C-bill one. And this is part of the problem. This is why it's taking me so long. I've got the scenario here. It's written out. I'm looking at it on my laptop right now. It's written out. I've got it. Adam and I are going to do basically this, but we're going to not swap tech bases. We're not going to cross tech bases. So it'll be a star versus a star with the same C-bill cost. And that's it. We're not going to know what's coming. I think we might even introduce forces on the day we play the battle, but we'll see how we do. But anyway, I'm going to get set up and go and do that. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks very much for all the comments, the likes, watching the videos all the way through, or listening to the whole thing. You guys stay groovy, and I'll catch you in the next one.